Good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around.
Good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. There's a lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, the loving light will guide you.
Goeienaand, good evening fellow South Africans and citizens of the world, and welcome to tonight's live stream where we're going to be talking about an extraordinary product that I use, and I can vouch for it. Now, people who follow my live streams would know that last night I had this horrible cough, and oh my gosh, what's going on here? Please, if you can see me clearly, just type 1 in the side chat, okay guys? It looks like YouTube is playing up again. Alright, let's continue. So, my cough is now gone, and I am in perfect order. I feel great again, and yeah. So, I'm just waiting to make sure that we don't have a problem with the reception coming through. Just type 1 in the side chat if you can see me well. Alright, now let's get going. Stem cells are the building blocks of life. When a woman conceives, the first cell fertilized by sperm is a single stem cell which replicates itself and forms the entire human baby. So what do stem cells do in the bodies of people, adults, etc.? Let me show you a short video so you can get an idea of how important stem cells are. Here we go.
Whenever there is an injury or a challenge to an organ or tissue, a whole process of renewal takes place in the body to help restore optimal health. Soon after the injury, the affected tissue releases specific compounds that travel through the blood to the bone marrow. When the compounds released by the injured tissue reach the bone marrow, these messengers tell the stem cells in the bone marrow to divide and create new stem cells, which are then released from the bone marrow into the bloodstream. Slowly, the number of stem cells increases in the blood circulation. At the same time, the affected tissue releases another compound called stromal-derived factor 1, or SDF1, that attracts stem cells. As stem cells circulate in the fine blood vessels of the affected tissue and sense the presence of this compound, they stop in the blood flow and migrate into the tissue. Inside the tissue, stem cells slowly migrate to the very site of injury where SDF1 is being secreted. When they reach the site of the injury and come into contact with the damaged tissue, stem cells begin to multiply and then slowly transform into cells of that tissue. Through this process of amplification, one stem cell can become thousands of tissue cells. It is through this natural process of renewal that the body maintains optimal health every day of our lives. StemRegen is a natural product made of plant extracts that have been documented to support the release of stem cells from the bone marrow, thereby increasing the number of circulating stem cells. More stem cells in circulation means that more stem cells are available to participate in the process.
Alrighty, there we go. That just gives you a bit of background to what stem cells are, and I think that's a really, really important subject that we need to get our heads around. Now, let's continue. As you get older, your stem cells switch off, which is why older people are more prone to sickness and ailments. What LifeWave X39 does is switch those inactive stem cells back on again. So it's like dramatically building your own body's defenses. In other words, reactivating those cells which have basically become inactive. Let's have a look at a short video which tells you how LifeWave's, basically the pillar of the organization's product, actually works. Here we go.
LifeWave's X39. This is a patch that activates your stem cells to a younger, healthier state to give you a whole new level of vitality. The patch works by using phototherapy to elevate a peptide in the body that normally declines with age. The benefits are numerous. The X39 patch will improve your energy and sleep, reduce your pain, smooth out the appearance of lines and wrinkles in your skin, and support faster wound healing, just to name a few. And the best part? X39 works no matter where you place it on your body. Our studies were based on 2 locations. The first one is at the base of your neck, as you see here. The other location is just below the belly button, as shown here. But remember, you really can place it anywhere. Be sure to apply the patch to clean, dry skin in the morning. You can wear the X39 patch for up to 12 hours. Stay well hydrated while you're using it. LifeWave's X39. You have to experience it to believe it.
Alright guys, there we go. Now, I'm going to get my guests on, and that's Chris Hattingh and George Kaduri. So, without any further ado, now George and Chris know a lot more about LifeWave than I do. They've been involved with it for a long, long time, and just like myself, they're singing its praises. Let's get Chris Hattingh on first and get the show on the road. Hi, Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Let me just get George on, and we'll get this all happening.
Okay.
Gee, you gotta love it when the computer plays up, haven't you? Okay, I'm just gonna fix this computer. Okay, let's add person into here, George. Oh, come on. George Kaduri, there we go. Okay. Alrighty, so you're keeping well, Chris?
Good, thank you. Just down here in KZN in Belito at the moment. So
Yeah.
sitting here.
Cool.
I've got load shedding down here.
Well, look, I must say your beard. I watch your beard very closely, and it's almost totally black now.
Yeah, I am absolutely blown away. I was looking at it, I think on Monday or Tuesday last week in the mirror, and I actually cannot believe it. I was going literally grey, and with
Yeah.
just a few little grey ones left here, and in the front here, but otherwise all of this. And the side here, this side's going totally black.
How long have you been on X39 now?
Tomorrow will be 6 months.
6 months, and
4
you.
or 6 months.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. George, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just closing the door.
Okay, okay, not a problem. So, guys, look, we're going to be talking about LifeWave. We're going to be talking about X39. We're going to be talking about the other patches. And I've actually got a friend who's been trying some of the other patches which help you with sleeping, and they're doing a great job. I think that's called Silent Night. But George, there you go. George, can you put your camera on?
Yeah, sure. I was okay. I was wondering what. I haven't done this with Skype for a while, so here I am.
There you go.
Trying to figure out.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Perfect. Now, George, you and Chris are good old friends, so obviously I don't have to introduce you.
No, that's true. That's true.
Now, let's just start off with I think an important clarification on the whole basis of X39, which is how it actually brings inactive stem cells back to. Whoa, George, what are you doing there?
I just moved. I wanted to get the light out of the background.
Oh, don't worry, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now, okay. So the whole basis of X39 is how it reactivates inactive stem cells, and what happens when people go for stem cell injections is they get other stem cells injected into their body, as opposed to a far less expensive and a far less invasive procedure of just using a patch and reactivating your own stem cells, which really makes total sense to me. What are the dangers of having the injection, George, just so we can discuss that?
Look, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know, but what I could tell you is this. When I first somebody told me, look at this, it's to do with stem cells, I said, look, I'm not interested. It sounds barbaric to me. Stolen placenta and aborted fetuses and God knows what, and even from other species I've heard. And I just was kind of completely, no, I'm not interested. I've always been interested in medicine of light. I've actually got a book here which I bought 30 years ago called The Body Electric. So then they said to me, look, this is not to do with what you're thinking. It's to do with light and frequencies. And I said, okay, I'm going to look at it. Then when I began to look at it and I saw that it's something that works on our bodies from the inside out, not from the outside in, I said, if this is true, this is truly revolutionary, and I want to try. So that's what I did, and one thing led to another. So what I can tell you about people who go for stem cell shots, like my friend somebody I met as I was digging into this, Javi Solis in New Jersey. His son is autistic. He and his family went twice to Mexico to have stem cell shots for very minimal effect. Each time they cost each shot cost $8,000, not to mention travel, hotels, and so on and so forth. He always says, and the food. And he had to sign all these documents saying, there's no responsibility. He had to do. So what I do know is that in my experience, and it's nothing more than that, I know some wealthy people who've had stem cell shots that have worked, and others whose stem cell shots haven't worked. In all cases, or both cases, in that sense, that it's cost them an awful lot of money. The difference here is because we're using the infrared that's coming out of our body and redirecting it back into our body at a specific frequency. I couldn't tell you what that frequency is. David Schmidt could. For people who want to know about that sort of thing, and the details and the clinical trials and so on and so forth, we have that web, startx39.com, where they can go into as deeply as they care to. I would just add one more thing. With those 80 clinical trials that are visible on the website, my friend Davo, who comes from medical laboratories, he read them all. I read 2, was quite enough for me. I was getting a lot of medical words, and I can get it, but it was enough. And then I said to Javi, did you read any of them? He said, I didn't need to read one. I saw what it did for my son. So kind of, it's a long-winded answer, but hope that was useful.
Absolutely. I mean, to me, it's just a no-brainer. You know, here you've got a patch which reactivates your own stem cells, and it's so inexpensive. It costs me less than a cup of coffee a day to actually use X39. So if you just get rid of that one coffee a day that you go to the coffee shop for and have a X39 patch on your neck, you know, you can change your life. You know, once I was just mentioning Chris's beard. You know, it's gone black after 6 months of using.
I heard you had a result.
Yes, my hair is going black too, and I'm actually letting it grow longer, so that I can actually from the barber get some pieces cut off, which will show how it's actually getting darker at the root. Because. But
I also heard that you had a result with your eyes.
Oh,
yes.
Correct? Yes. My vision has improved dramatically. I don't use glasses now for long distance, and I can see much clearer than I could 3 months ago, and that was with glasses. My long distance vision has improved dramatically. So yeah, that
you know, a lot of guys, they're very happy when their hair starts growing back, but eyes are much more important than hair. So that's a really great news to hear. On that front, we have a very sweet lady called Heather, who's South African in Ireland, and she's got macular degeneration, and her eyes were misting. I mean, it was all a mist. And her daughter said to her the other day, this is the first time in 6 months you looked at me straight instead of looking at me sideways, because she was kind of able to see a bit out of the side. And she says it's clearing up. The mist is disappearing.
Wow.
It's so. I'm just going to go back to your coffee shop, though. You know, you can keep having the coffee, just give up the cake.
Well, look, I just want to say that with macular degeneration, for those people who don't know, it's a terrible disease, ailment, whatever, that is very common with people over 50. And what happens is your retina of the eye actually separates from the macula, and when it does that, it causes a bubble, and then you get a distortion in your vision. So if there's anyone over 50 here who sees that when they look at a line, for example, like let's say a Windows document or something like that, they can see it's got a curve in it, that means you've actually got a bubble on the back of your macula. And that's the start of macular degeneration. And I'm actually blind in my left eye because of macular degeneration. I've got a scar right over the macula, and if X39 fixes that, it would be a complete and utter miracle, because the opticians and the optometrists have said, look, that's it, it's all over, Red Rover, you can't fix it. So we'll see what happens. Now, enough about my eyes. Chris, over to you. Now, with you, apart from your beard, how has LifeWave helped you?
Well, I'm gonna go like one story back quickly. We were talking about the stem cell injections. You know, funny enough, there's a book by Tony Robbins called Life Force. Everybody knows who Tony Robbins is. He's been around motivational speaker for the last 30 years. And this book he launched about a year ago called Life Force. And in chapter 2 and chapter 3, he talks about peptide therapy and stem cell therapy. And he was saying in the book that if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And you've got a 50% chance that the stem cell injections are going to work, and a 50% chance that they are not going to work. And as George was saying, you've got to sign these papers saying that there's no guarantee. And even Tony Robbins, now listen, Tony Robbins is a very wealthy gentleman, and for for these words to come out of his mouth, he said they are hellishly expensive. Then you can just imagine for the man in the street, it is literally unaffordable. Where we were talking just now with LifeWave's stem cell patches, the X39, are affordable in the way of the cost of a cup of coffee. So, looking at myself, I wanted to get George onto the call this evening with us, because I just have a lot of gratitude towards George. We've known each other for just over 2 years now. And George is the person that actually introduced me to LifeWave. And it was quite interesting. It was the end of last year on the project that we were working on. George was on one of the Zoom calls. I think it was towards the end of October. And anybody that can remember, George is nodding his head. I had black rings under my eyes. I had lines. I was going grey. I was tired. I was burnt out. And George saw me on the call and he sends me a message. While we on the Zoom call in front of people, he sends me a WhatsApp and he goes, "Chris, you look like shit." And I'm like, "Whoa, George, thank you for the compliment." He said, "You know what? I mean that in a good way. You're looking tired and I'm concerned about you, and I think I've got something that can help you." He sent me some information which sort of like went a little bit over my head. And he sent me a video clip, then he sent me a PDF. This was during the course of October going into November. And George stopped me in my tracks probably about middle of November. He sent me a 6.5 voice note, which I still have. I will not delete that voice note, because that voice note has completely changed my life, complete 180. And in George's voice note, he was telling me about a friend of his in France that has been suffering from tinnitus. Now, tinnitus is that ringing in the ears for the last, how long, George? Like over 20 years.
40 years.
40 years. And since being on the patches, it's helped him with his tinnitus. And guess what? My girlfriend Lucinda has been suffering from tinnitus for 4 years. And in the same breath, George was telling me about Harvey, about their son that's had very good results on the patches, that's got autism. My nephew has got autism. So how synchronistic is that? George doesn't know my personal life, but the two stories that he was telling me, I could relate to both of them.
Yeah.
And that's when I said, "Okay, George, I'll need more info." And it's actually tomorrow, 6 months ago, is when I made the decision, registered, and I ordered my product. That was on the 24th of November last year. 2 days later, my sleeve of X39 arrived. I opened it up and I see inside here, here's a little thing full of 30 patches, 30 of these little patches. And I thought, this looks quite cool. So I put it on the back of my neck and I said to George, "Okay, the patches have arrived. I know how this works. It gets absorbed into my body." George replies back going, "No, Chris, you obviously didn't listen to the video properly. It's got nothing to do with absorption. It's non-transdermal. It works on frequency." As soon as George said that word frequency, I thought, holy moly, wow. So now I go back to the drawing board, start watching all the clips and everything. And, some people have heard my story, some people haven't. But for the new people that are on the call this evening, I don't know if you've anybody that's ever suffered from burnout and foggy brain, where you feel like your brain's just not working properly. Literally 5 days after being on the X39, it felt like a veil was lifted off my head. I had the most amazing mental clarity. Listen, I would spend $1,000 a month just to have the mental clarity that I have today. I thought that foggy brain feeling was normal as you get older, but I realized that it's not. And that mental clarity, my energy levels off, and they go, "I haven't felt anything yet." I'm like, "Yeah, but you know what? It's going into your body. Now the stem cells they're clever. They are busy reactivating. They're waking up and they know where to go into your body, where your body needs the most help." So it's healing another area. And what I picked up on is I suffered from vertigo for 4 years. which I would take motion sickness tablets every, 3-4 times a week. And I realized a month and a half later, now I wasn't consciously aware of it. Only afterwards did I say to Lucinda, I said, guess what? I just realized I haven't taken my motion sickness tablets. I didn't realize it. So other things are happening in the background that you might not be aware about. So, and that's what happened with me. My hair is growing, like you have no idea. There's a tiny bit of gray on the side here. I was starting to go completely gray. My beard was going completely gray. Look at this. I actually can't believe just a little tuft here and a tuft there. The rest of it's going black. The lines over here have smoothened out as well. And this is after 6 months being on the X39. So we talk about, this is proven that 6 months being on the X39 will reverse your vascular age by 8 years. By 8 years. And this is all in the clinical trials. So, so from my side, I am literally blown away what it's done for myself, what it's done for Lucinda. I'd like to mention this as well. Lucinda got onto the product about the same time as me, and Lucinda's had a lot of other issues in her body, digestion problems, menopause, that type of thing. And after about 4 weeks, Lucinda said, no, I'm not feeling anything yet. And after 5 weeks, still nothing. And after 6 weeks, Lucinda's saying, no, Chris, I'm not feeling anything. I'm getting worried because I'm feeling something. If people around us are getting results, and Lucinda's going, no, still nothing. It made me think of, you know, anyone that's watched Shrek, you remember Shrek with Donkey going, over there yet? No. Over there yet? No. It's like, Lucinda, anything happened yet? No. I'm like, oh my God, please. I'm not getting worried here. I'm getting excited about this. Nothing's happening. 7.5 weeks in, Lucinda said to me, Chris, my hot flushes have disappeared. My tinnitus, that ringing sound in the ears, not completely gone, but it's nowhere near that high-pitched. It's at a level where she can actually cope with life. And her energy levels, her outlook towards life. So, you know, this is where David Schmidt, the inventor of LifeWave, he talks about the 90-day protocol, which is so important because, you know, in today's day and age, we live in this instant gratification, this drive-through, breakthrough type of society. We want miracles to happen like that. Listen, these patches in my life are nothing short of a miracle. They do what they say this patch is going to do. There's 133 patents on these products, right, worldwide. But we cannot put a patch on and in 1 week expect your whole body to completely fix itself. That is unrealistic. We have to have very realistic expectations right from the start. And we talk about, if a person wants to get onto this product, nothing less than a 90-day protocol. That is 3 sleeves of the X39 over a 3-month period, 90 days, for your body to get back to its optimum state. In fact, the company actually gives a 90-day money-back guarantee. Now, that's putting your money where your mouth is. But otherwise, just every single day, George can attest to this, we literally see miracles unfold in front of us every single day. And when people ask me about the paperwork and the clinical trials and the scientific studies, it's all there. It's all there. But I don't need to go through all of that. I'm not a doctor. All I know is I've seen what this product has done. I patch people. I see what it does to them a week later. You know, I'm down here in KZN in Belito at the moment, meeting a lot of people, getting presentations up and going down here in KZN, South Africa. And we met some people on Wednesday for coffee, very good friends of mine. And Roger is 74 years old. He's been in the building trade for his whole life. And Roger started to get arthritis in his hands. He's had pain in his hands. And he was showing us he couldn't close his hands properly. That was on Wednesday, couldn't close them. And so we've got our sample patches with us. And we said, okay, here we go, guys. Here's a whole lot of samples. He said, put the patch onto the hand. So first patch you can put in the on the back of your neck, right? The first day, what you do is take that off. The next day you still put a brand new patch on the back of your neck, but you can also take the patch from the day before and put it on your hand as well. So here you're kind of like doing a bit of a double whammy. You can put it at the section where the pain is. We saw them for lunch on Sunday. Roger could close his hands.
Wow.
He could completely close his hands, and he said the pain is gone. So Roger says, I wonder what it could. Do you think it could be the patch? I'm like, it's the only thing you've changed.
Well, look,
You
guys,
were blown away.
I just want to say what Chris was just talking about there. You can see below my good eye, I've got a patch. And that's a patch that I wore on the back of my neck yesterday. And that's the process that I'm going through. So, I'm doubling up with that one patch. Now, just before we move on, guys, I think I should also mention for people who want to join LifeWave, there is a link down below this video in the description where you can click on that and you can join LifeWave. So it also tells you a whole lot about LifeWave, their testimonials. There's a lot of background information on the product and so on. So have a look at that if you're interested in getting involved. I can tell you what, my PA Marlena, we talk about a miracle. Chris, I think you know the story there. Marlena, she was basically wheelchair bound, okay? She could hardly get out of her chair. She was just, because of her knees. Her knees were absolutely cactus. All the padding in her knees had gone, and it was bone on bone. And she's been wearing patches on her knees now for I think it's about 6 weeks. She's now walking around. And whereas she used to go to the shopping center in a wheelchair, she's now walking around the shops. And in fact, she told me last week, she actually cleaned her house.
Wow.
She cleaned her house, and before she got the patches, she could hardly move. I mean, this is extraordinary stuff that's going on. There's so many different examples of what we're talking about here. Now, guys, okay, let's move on to, we've talked a bit about X39, and it is, as George says, it's a spinal column of LifeWave, and then what you've got are these supporting patches. And that's what we're going to be talking about now. And perhaps, over to you.
Perhaps I don't know if your audience knows kind of the story of how these patches came to being, but I'm happy to tell it.
Please do.
So David Schmidt is an inventor. His uncle's an inventor, and his cousin's an inventor. And I watched a call with him where he said we compete with each other. Anyway, he'd invented some kind of underwater vehicle for the U.S. Department of Defense. And he was asked by the Department of Defense to create something so that the submariners wouldn't be needing the kind of Red Bull type products or caffeine. So he worked to develop this technology and created his first patch called Energy Enhancer. Now, we all know that the towers went down, and he said, in his words, when the towers went down, the priorities changed to the Department of Defense, and there was nobody answering the phone. So he thought, what can I do with what I've developed, what I've invented? So he thought, I'm going to take it to the public and see. So he set up a company to do that, and he was sort of debating television ads, radio ads, renting shelves on stores, and doing a traditional kind of marketing development of a product. So, random conversation with somebody. I think it was on an airplane. However, in that conversation, the guy said, who was a network marketer, said to him, "This is really interesting. Can I introduce you to a doctor friend of mine in California?" So David Schmidt spoke with that doctor, and since then they've become friends and done lots of work together. And that doctor said, "May I introduce you to a doctor friend of mine?" So that second doctor was the doctor for the Olympic swimming team, where in 2014 with Michael Phelps. So what happened next? The doctor introduced him to the coach, who said, yeah, okay, we can try the patches. So David Schmidt found himself 3 weeks after the first conversation patching the Olympic swimming team, which went on to win an awful lot of medals and beat their own records. In that process, he was then sort of summoned to prove to the anti-doping people and to the Olympic Committee that the patches were non-transdermal, there were no pharmaceuticals going into the body. They passed that proof, that test, the guys got their medals, and that's where he started with his first patch called Energy Enhancer. There's pictures of David Beckham using that particular patch and all sorts of other sports people. So that was his first patch. So I'm going to let Chris continue, because he's kind of gone through them carefully. I mean, I can too. I have experience with some of them, not all of them, but they Chris, or did we lose? He got frozen?
No, Chris, are you there? I think Chris is. Are you? Oh wow! He's back. There we go.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, this is South African internet for you. We're quite used to it in live streams.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, did you hear what George was saying?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
do you want to introduce us?
Yeah, George was talking about, where.
Yeah. Do you want to introduce us to some of the other patches and how they work? Yeah, over to you.
Yeah. Okay, so the way I like to explain it is, all in all, there are 12 products, where the Energy Enhancer was the very first one that David Schmidt developed, right? The X39, which is the spinal column. This is the holy grail of patches. This is the stem cell reactivation patch. That this is where the copper peptide is stimulated and stimulates your own stem cells. And this is the product that was developed 3.5 years ago. And this is you want to call it the new kid on the block, which is what's putting LifeWave onto the map. In fact, in 2020 and 2021, LifeWave did $30 million turnover. And just last year, 2022, LifeWave did $300 million turnover. So,
Chris,
this is a company,
Chris,
that after the pandemic has 10x its turnover. Now, I don't know if this is not the companies up there. Yeah. Yes.
Chris, can I just repeat what you said there, because
Yes.
It didn't actually come through. You had an internet fart, where everything just kind of stops. But what you were saying was that in 2021, LifeWave had sales of about $30 million, and the following year they had 10 times as many sales at $300 million. Is that correct? Okay, back to you.
That's correct. Yeah.
Back to you.
So, as I was saying, after COVID, most companies are closing doors. Where you look at LifeWave, 10xing its turnover. There's no world right now that are 10xing. Speaking earlier, the fastest way to get a product into the network, into the world, is network marketing, which is the word of mouth way of getting it out there. And there we go. People heard me say that proof's not in the pudding.
Hang on, Chris.
In the patch.
Chris.
The way I like to give an analogy of the products is, yes.
Sorry, Chris. Your voice is coming through very strange. Are you hearing it strange, George?
Yes, very.
Yeah, that's the South African internet, unfortunately, and yeah. So perhaps what we could do is get you to just start again from about a minute ago. Oh my gosh! I think we've lost Chris altogether.
Scott.
You there, Chris? Okay.
Did you have a crystal radio set when you were a kid? When you had the crystal that you tied to the radiator, and you kind of listened to the radio, and sometimes you got a signal, sometimes you didn't.
I
think Chris is really having problems with the internet.
Sure. Okay, just want to make sure you guys can hear me fine now.
No, it's still very, very crazy. Look, okay. I tell you what I'm going to suggest, Chris, is...
Yes, yeah.
I'm going to suggest that you leave this call and then come back in again. Just see if we can... So just go out of Skype and then come back in again. See if we can get you a better line. And I'll talk to George while you're doing that. All right. Now George, let's look at... Okay, guys. George, I'm going to restart the Skype session because,
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Go for it.
Okay, guys, I'm going to restart the Skype session, and just before I do, I hope you can see my little LifeWave badge on my neck here. You get that when you become a manager, and I've got a certificate of being a manager now at LifeWave, which is rather nice, and that's related to the business side of LifeWave, but we'll be talking about that separately. Okay, I'm going to try and get Chris back on again now. Let's see if we can get this happening. And just while I'm trying to get Chris back, I'm recording this live stream and it'll be available on Loving Life TV. Hi, Chris. Hi, Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Scott.
You're back. Yeah, look, it was crazy. We couldn't understand a word you were saying. It was like you were in slow motion. So I thought I'd just reconnect. Okay.
Awesome. I think it's where we at. I think the towers are going down as well.
Yeah. The battery's getting stolen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Chris, do you want to just from that point where you were talking about how the business side of LifeWave has just exploded, and this is following the release of X39. Do you want to just continue talking or take up from that point? Because I'm recording this live stream, and what I will do is I will cut out that piece and I will put it up onto lovinglifetv.com with those pieces where it was intelligible cut out. So back to you.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Great. Okay. So as I was saying, with regard to the X39, that is the Holy Grail. It's the flagship product of LifeWave. So there are supportive products. So always to be used as a base is the X39. Any other the supportive products are to be added on top of it. And the way I like to give an analogy is, if we've got a swimming pool as an example, and say your swimming pool goes green, what do? Your swimming pool goes green, we go to the store and we go and get chlorine, HTH we call it here in South Africa, and you put the chlorine into the pool, and it normally takes about a week, and your pool goes back to blue. If, say, hypothetically, and this is the chlorine doing the work in the background, so this is the X39 doing all the work in the background in your body. But we also have what we call a shock treatment. So that would be like the Band-Aid. So if you want your pool to suddenly go blue, what you do is you go to the store and you buy the shock treatment called green to blue. And you pour that in, and 2 hours later, your swimming pool goes sparkling blue. That is your quick fix, so to speak, while the chlorine is doing the work in the background. So that's sort of like the way I like to describe it is, while this is doing the work in the background, if you've got extreme pain, as an example, what you're going to do is you're going to use the Ice Wave. Now, the Ice Wave is the product that you use for extreme pain, and this is what we used on Molina's legs with, as we spoke about just now, with absolute amazing results. So that is the Ice Wave. That's one that we have for pain. You mentioned just now the one for sleeping, called Silent Nights. I call this the Sleepy Patch. This is such an awesome product. I use it myself maybe twice a week. And what you do is you put it at the bottom top of your feet. And what you do is when you go to sleep, take the X39 off so that you can get out of this frequency about an hour before you go to sleep. And then you put the Silent Night one on, probably about 15-20 minutes before you go to sleep. And you drift off. And what I find is if I wake up to go to the bathroom, we all know that starts to happen as you get older. You empty your bladder, but you still got to wake up once, sometimes twice in the evening to go to the toilet. What I do find is waking up, getting back into bed. I used to sit, and that's when I used to be awake and couldn't go back to sleep. What I find with this is you put your head back down on the pillow, you close your eyes, and you fast asleep. And I find that I can actually sleep longer as well if I need to sleep in.
I haven't actually used that one ever. However, I will say that I use X39, X49, and other glutathione that you're going to talk about, I guess, and at night, Aeon and Alavida, but I haven't had to wake up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet at all. I just realized quite a long time. What happens is, when he mentioned it, I went, wow, I'd totally forgotten that I haven't had to stumble up out at like 6 a.m. and go to the bathroom. So what actually happens is a lot of things happen and you don't even notice they've happened, like just now that. And I guess it's probably 3 months that I haven't had to stumble out to the bathroom out of bed. Amazing.
Wow. Well, now I think about it, I'm the type of person that has a cappuccino before going to sleep, okay? And
that's the worst possible thing you can do.
But I still sleep.
You do.
Well, I say you shouldn't really drink too much liquid before you go into sleep. So I suppose you should stop at about 7 o'clock in the evening at least. But otherwise, yeah, like I was saying, the Silent Night, even Lucinda, she uses it herself. And Lucinda used to wake up, like a couple of times, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And now using the Silent Night, she's sleeping right through. So
fantastic.
Yeah, here we've got two people in one household that are getting absolutely beautiful results. Then the other one here called the SP6. Now this is SP6 meaning spleen 6. This is one that's sort of like, if you want to call it weight management. We don't call it a weight loss. We don't make any claims at all. But the results that Lucinda has been getting is her hot flushes have completely disappeared. And Lucinda was trying to explain to me the other day when she was getting 10 to 15 hot flushes a day. Wow. Explaining what it feels like. Your whole body just completely heats up and you feel like your head feels like it wants to just explode. And yeah, since being on the SP6, the hot flushes have completely disappeared, which is absolutely amazing. And then, but then this one over here, the Energy Enhancer, I only tried it for the first time about a month and a half ago, because since being on the X39, being on the product, my energy levels have increased anyway. And so what we did was we decided we wanted to have all the products. So we bought 2 or 3 of each sleeve so that we have samples and to try them out. And it was a Saturday morning. We went to sleep quite late and I had to get up early to go and do a presentation. And I felt like a little bit tired, a little bit drained. And I thought, let me try the energy enhancer. And I put it on. And what I was quite amazed, it's amazing how programming, you sort of expect a certain feeling, like, you know, when you've had 2 or 3 Red Bulls, it kind of like peaks you, and you sort of like, you feel a little bit jittery, and you kind of like, wow, you're awake. But we know what happens an hour later, you get dropped immediately. What this does is I'd say about 20 minutes, you can actually feel your energy level just getting higher and higher and higher and higher. It keeps you at a certain bandwidth, a band level, and you stay within that band for literally the entire day. And I was absolutely blown away at how effective the energy enhancer product is. Absolutely love it. I've taken it about, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 times. And people that we have given samples to have also said, wow, what is this stuff? It's amazing. And then that's what we do. We keep samples with us. We talk to people. We just have fun. And we just share and we patch people. And people come back and go, what is this stuff? We want it. We want to try it.
Right.
George, you want to add on to that?
George, is there something you'd like to add to it?
Sorry, I just wanted to say I've got to jump off in about 7 minutes. But I wanted to say one thing. You know, with LifeWave, when I discovered it, I saw about the product, and I go, I have to try it. And then I saw the results with myself, with recommending to my friends to try. However, as time goes by, I realized that, you know, we're not only offering here really wonderful health outcomes, we're also you know, with this comes great emotional outcomes, emotional health. You know, I've received letters from people or WhatsApps. People don't do letters so much these days. WhatsApps, voice messages from people saying, you know, my friend Raquel, she said to me about what happened with her mother and her diabetes, sugar levels going to normal. She said, you cannot imagine the joy this has brought our family, because they used more than a few times they'd had to rush their mother to hospital, and her sugar levels have stayed in the normal range since last October. You know, another lady in her mid-late 70s, after 2 weeks, she listed the physical improvements, but the key thing in that one, she said, I'm finding it almost impossible to be negative. So, you know, emotional health is also part of this, and you know, there's a spiritual side to it, because when we get these stories, it's really very, very humbling and wonderful to hear. And then there's the other side with the financial health that people can develop if they decide they want to work with LifeWave as a company and take part in what is David Schmidt's vision of well-being for people all over the world, from everything from their physical health to their economic health. So I just wanted to say that before I have to go, and I'm very, very thankful personally that I came across LifeWave and that LifeWave came across me, because like many people after COVID, Chris is also one of them. You know, I had several businesses. I've done businesses all my life. I worked non-stop for 2 years on a platform for the restaurant business. On the buying side, not the selling side. The selling side is completely computerized. We'd had 2 years talking with the biggest beer company here, 2 years talking with a billionaire who's about to put $1.5 million into it in the States, open it in the States, went to the States, talked with the lawyers, talked with the tech people, all of these things. COVID came in. All the restaurants were closed. Nobody knew who was going to open or what. We had the head of the UK Restaurant Association and the South Africa Restaurant Association who said, we need your product here. We want to introduce you. They wanted us to go to an event in the UK. All that fell apart. all that fell apart, and another couple of projects I had. Chris had a company where he just got a massive order. May I say, were your company? He developed a toy called Whistle Racer. So his toy, after 10 years work, he got an order for like €1 million worth of his toy. COVID comes in, order disappeared. So that your decades of work for many people fell apart. So in my case, I was looking for something to put my energy into, which would give me, again, financial stability. I can always get by. I always do stuff. Have a boat I rent out, and I'm always... But this is so powerful. So anybody who's looking also, besides a health outcome, financial outcome, do look at this. And I would say one thing, because I didn't realize this at the beginning. For me, and I think for Chris, it's now an obligation to share this. However, I realized the other day, the more money that LifeWave is giving me, the more money that I can receive with LifeWave, the more people I'm helping. I know it's a funny way around to look at it, but it's true. I figured that the other day. I went, wow, so thankful for what I've been receiving recently. Now, let's make that 10 times as much, but that implies that through talking about LifeWave, I'm helping 10 times as many people. And with that, guys, I've got to leave you because I've got a call with my Spanish group in 4 minutes.
Alrighty. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, George. I know you're a busy man.
Well, no, I'm always just talking a lot at the moment. But thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to let me know if you'd like me to join you again.
Absolutely, we will.
Okay, so I just get to press the red button here, and then you continue.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
Cheers for now.
Bye.
Thank you, George. Cheers, George. Bye.
Okay, Chris, back to you. Now, do you want to keep on going with the other patches that LifeWave offer?
Yeah, I'm going to cover that in literally two more minutes.
Yeah, okay.
Very, very quick. Yeah. So, so then the other three is called the Y-Age trio. Here we go. These are the three over here. The one this one over here is glutathione. Now, the glutathione is mainly for your immune system. And then the other one, here we go. I'm trying to see this in the dark. The carnosine. So we've got the carnosine, which is for stamina, and then this one over here, the Aeon, is the one for anxiety, depression, and high levels of stress. So, like I said, these are the supportive products which work like a bomb. But let me tell you that they work even better once you're on the foundation, which is the X39. So I thought I would just touch on those products. But as George was mentioning earlier, we focus mainly on the X39 because the X39 is like a heat-seeking missile that kind of goes into your body, resets your entire system, and does all the work that needs to get done. And then you add the supplementary products on top of that. And as we mentioned earlier, we talked about the 90-day protocol being on the product. But otherwise, that's it on the product side. Because on the website called www.startx39.com mainly focuses on the X39 specifically, and goes through all the clinical trials and studies and all that type of thing. And then later on, once you want to get more information, there's a lot more information that can be sent out specifically on each product, because it's a lot to take in initially, because people, this is the first time they've heard about stem cell reactivation patches, and then you start bombarding people with all this info. It just kind of gets too much, so we just give people little bits of info at a time. I hope that covered everything, Scott.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And I just want to add, Chris, that underneath this video, there are a number of links, and all those links to YouTube videos on the various products. So people, if they're interested in, let's say, Silent Night, they can just click on that YouTube link and go and have a look at something specific to do with that product. And the same applies to the others as well. And also on that page is a link to a document about LifeWave, which really gives a huge amount. It's the history of LifeWave patches, and it's a PDF which is on the lovinglifetv.com forums, and people can download that free and read that up. And also the first link underneath the video is how to join us on LifeWave, and that's going to lovinglifetv.com/LifeWave, and there you can not only join LifeWave and start getting the patches, but you can also find out more. There are a lot of testimonials in there from people from around the world about how these products have helped them. Chris, you're in Durban at the moment.
That's right, yes.
So how much longer will you be in Durban before you head back home?
I'm going to be here till next week, Monday, 6 more days. Got
Okay.
a big presentation on Saturday in Pantown area. We've got about 50, 60 people coming from all over KZN, where I'll be presenting at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning in Durban.
Okay, now how can people who are interested actually attend? Well, what can they do? How can they contact you?
We have a, what do you call it, on the group I sent the copy of the invite, and it's got all the address, got all the details, and there's the person that you can RSVP to as well by the name of Merle. So that's all available on the invite, which you can share with people onto the website here.
Right, okay, well look, if you can just send me that image again, and I will put Merle's
Sure.
email address below this video so people can attend. Alrighty, Chris, pleasure speaking to you again. We've been sort of like chatting now for several months, and I will never forget the first live stream I did with you when you were stuck in Frankfurt Airport because of COVID. And there's that movie about this guy. For those who don't know, Chris was stuck in Frankfurt Airport for days because he hadn't had the proper COVID test, 4 days. And I brought out a live stream with Chris way back. It was about 2 years ago, wasn't it?
2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago. Yeah, wow. What a time. All right, buddy.
That was crazy. I'm so glad birthdays are behind us. Wow.
All right, buddy. Take care, and we'll catch up again soon. And I'll send you the link to this live stream on Loving Life TV, because we did have a few little glitches with YouTube. I don't know what they're up to, but their transmission is just absolutely cactus at the moment. And there were a couple of times where we had buffering when you were talking, and
Okay.
I've actually recorded this. So the one that I put up on Loving Live TV will have the sort of technical bits taken out, and it'll be a nice clean copy without any buffering at all.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. That'll be great. Thank you.
All right, mate. Take care, and we'll catch up with you soon. And say hi
You
to
also. Okay.
say hi to Gail and Eugene for me.
I will do. Definitely. I'll see them on Saturday. Thanks, Scott.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
You too. Bye. Bye.
All right, guys. That was Chris and George from LifeWave, and as I've said a couple of times now, if you want to join, very, very easy. Just go to the link below this video in the description, and you will see a link to join LifeWave. And as I say, there's also testimonials and other things in there as well. Alrighty, I'm going to go out with Op ons rots, and have a great evening, guys. And this video will be edited and placed up on lovinglifetv.com. So in the morning you'll be able to see one without all these glitches that YouTube brought in. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye for now.
Ons loop hand aan hand op goue warm sand, so baie ek wil hee, so baie dit brand. Ek staan op my rug met golwe wat bots, ons het geen vrees, want hy is in beheer. Ons die al die plannen van godeloze mannen, ons weer terug aan die weg, dus geskryf soos een tyd, ons dan weer aanhouden, want hy is in beheer. Die winde wat sterk, dis krachte wat werk, die gevoel in my hart, dis vrees wat wil brand. Ons is boere met trots, met my hand in my bors, ons geen vrees, want hy is in beheer. Ons die al die plannen van godeloze mannen, ons weer terug aan die weg, dus geskryf soos een tyd, ons dan weer aanhouden, want hy is in beheer. Ons weet wat gebeur, die leer sal ons die sneer, kom staan nog een keer, ek is stil, want ek weet, hy is in beheer. Ons die al die plannen van godeloze mannen, ons weer terug aan die weg, dus geskryf soos een tyd.